already told you there's so much more to me. I said I'm trying to give you all of me. Ooh, there's more than what meets the eye. You see, oh, if you wanna get deep, if you really wanna know me, you gotta come with me. Unspoken truth.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to a new episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Tanise. What's up? Welcome back. If this is your first time joining me, I appreciate you taking out the time to come hang out, see what the show is about. Cuz the heavy one, how are you, man? Happy Tuesday to you, Cammy, Benz, welcome. Okay, so today's topic is racial profiling. Now, this might be heavy, but this gives me an opportunity to share a story of mine, some of my truth. Okay. I'm big on that, hence the name of the show. Okay. So, all right, when I do episodes like this on a specific topic, I like to get a definition or at least as close to a definition as possible. So we got a base. Okay. Man versus the world, welcome. Okay. So this is the definition that was given. Racial profiling is the practice of law enforcement targeting individuals based on the race or ethnicity rather than an evidence of criminal activity leading to significant social and legal implications. All right, so to sum that up is you being targeted. Okay, it could be your skin color, it could be your race. I mean, it's numerous reasons why somebody can be racially profiled. Okay, now in my culture, we have something called driving while black. Okay, I don't expect everybody tuning in to understand, but understand, okay, and pay attention so y'all can learn something. Even if you can't relate, you can try to understand how this affects somebody's mental. Okay, so I said all that to say driving while black is you driving your vehicle. Maybe you in a unfamiliar territory or neighborhood and the police just pull you over. They give you a bogus excuse. Oh, you didn't use your turn signal or you didn't come to a complete stop or whatever reason they give, okay? But they give you some type of bogus reason why they pulled you over. While you're being pulled over, is not what they're doing or the reason why they pulled you over. It's the way they treating you now that they got you pulled over. Okay. Sometimes it includes a lot of racial slur, lingo, a lot of disrespect, degrading, things being said to you because a person is over abusing their authority as a police officer. But that was just an example of what I've seen racial profiling include. Okay. So now I'm going to share a little bit of my truth. So now, about, I don't know, it's probably been about 13 years ago. Okay. Maybe a little longer, but give or take. All right. I lived in a very predominantly white county. Okay. Here in the state where I live at. And I don't know if anybody is familiar, if you're from Ohio, if you've ever heard of Medina County, but I lived there. I lived there for about 7 years, maybe. Okay, I lived there a long time. Anyway, I had never lived nowhere else other than the city. I'm a city girl. Okay, I've lived all over the city, but I never moved outside of the city. This was the first time. All right, so when I get there, I recognize and um, link or connect with people like me. Okay, they may be from the city as well. We all reside in this little community, if you will, it's complex. A bunch of row houses. They was nice, you know. I didn't think it was an issue. Okay, now at the time I was married to somebody that the police felt like was a disruption to their city, a disruption to their county, whatever. But again, we married, so they can't really do much, but let me know that they got a problem with him. Okay. So now at this particular time, he had gotten some trouble out there. Now, mind you, although we were married, he never used our address out there. He always maintained the address in the city. So when he got in trouble, it was hard for them to find him because, of course, he not at our house out there. He's somewhere in the city, whatever. So I believe that because they couldn't get their hands on him, then they started racially profiling me. So now this particular day, I'm going back home to this predominantly white county from the city where I'm from. Okay. I get off the freeway. I don't take no different route than I normally would. I took the same route I would take home. Okay. Now there's multiple ways to get to my house, but this particular day I chose the route I chose. Police pulled me over. I asked, okay, what am I being pulled over for? We need you to step out the vehicle. So now I'm like, Now anybody know me know that I do what I do. Okay. So I'm not sure if this particular day, if I had been smoking in the vehicle, I don't know. This was such a long time ago, but it's possible. Okay. So now for that reason alone, that's grounds for them to ask me to step out. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I really don't remember, but nevertheless, they asked me to get out of the car. I got out of the car because it's like, all right, I don't have nothing to hide. I'm not doing nothing that I feel like is illegal to the point where you should be asking me to step out of my car. But I'm going to get out of the car anyway. I didn't take into consideration that this vehicle was in both of our names. Okay. Um, One was the first purchaser and the other was the co-signer. Okay. I didn't think none of this about this at the time. So I stepped out of the car. They asked me to then remove my shoes and socks. They wanted to search the vehicle. I still hadn't been given a proper reason why I had been pulled over. I absolutely didn't get a reason for why they wanted to search the car. Um, yeah, now I'm standing on the side of the road, and in this county and city, it's dirt roads. They still developing. Okay, at this time, it looked very different today, but at this time, it's still a newly developed county and city. So these is dirt roads. They ain't really no sidewalks or nothing. You just on the side of the road. Okay. I'm on the side of the road with no shoes and socks on, and they rummaging through the car. They didn't turn my shoes upside down. I don't know what they thought I had, but again, they have a problem with who I'm married to and what he's doing in their city and county. Okay. I tell them like I don't have anything that would be considered illegal in this car or on my person. Like, why y'all making me take my shoes and socks off? Why y'all rummaging through this car? They never found anything. They never gave me no ticket or nothing, which I thought was odd. I really believe they thought he was gonna be in the car. Okay. Again, the tag and the plate was registered to both of us. So maybe he thought we was riding together, which we wasn't. And silly him for thinking that. But nevertheless, that is a prime example of racial profiling. After I had time to like play it all back, I'm a little jumpy. I'm a little uneasy now because I know y'all watching me now. Okay. That changed a lot for me. It made me start being more careful. It made me start paying attention to my surroundings. It absolutely stopped me from doing anything that could cause me to go to jail or prison. But that experience was crazy. Even though I'm from the city and there's all type of stuff go on in the city where I'm from. I think that was probably the first time I had actually been racially profiled. I knew about it. I heard stories. I seen other people deal with it, but I hadn't dealt with it myself. And that was traumatizing. Thank you, nephew. Billions 2 times. Happy Tuesday. I love y'all. Son, how you doing? Zelly. Yeah, I think that was the first time I had been racially profiled. Another time, me and my kids drove to Atlanta. So this was a couple summers ago. And we stayed like out in the middle of nowhere, you might as well say, compared to what we used to. Again, when you go into different states, they all got little cities that will be considered um, the boonies, the middle of nowhere, whatever you want to call it. They all got cities like this. But we was staying like off of a lake, okay, and these very nice Airbnbs. We wanted to go to the store, the kids. I shouldn't say we because I wasn't with them, but the kids wanted to go to the store. It was a couple of my cousins and my kids. Okay, y'all cool. Y'all can handle yourself. Be careful. I'll see y'all when y'all come back. Now, I'm not thinking nothing gonna happen because they come back with snacks and whatever else they went to the store for. But they got racially profiled at the store and had the cops called on them. Okay. For one, my little cousin's response probably warned them to call the police because she probably like, I done stayed all over the city back home. I ain't never had nobody racially profile me. But long story short, it was a little hick town that we were staying in, and the store that they went in, I'm assuming, was a predominantly white store. Okay. Now you got these 3 or 4 black kids come up in the store. I'm not sure what set the lady off that was the cashier, but she ended up being the one who called the cops. Now, I don't know if she thought that kids was about to steal or whatever, but again, what am I stealing for? Why am I even going to put myself in that type of predicament? I'm in somebody else's city. I'm in somebody else's state. I know no one around here except the people who I came here to hang out with. Now, mind you, it was a family reunion, so it wasn't like we was by ourselves, but it's just little incidents and experiences like that that I believe traumatize people. I believe after the police was called and my kids told them like, "Hey, we did nothing wrong," they literally racially profiling us in this store. And again, I can only imagine what some of the stuff is that my cousins probably said to these individuals, but you don't ever know how you're gonna respond to something like that. Okay, you don't know how you gonna act or feel after somebody single you out, can't tell you why, and then basically dismantle you publicly for whoever to see, whoever driving by, whoever walking by, for the world to see. I think that's extremely damaging to somebody's confidence. Absolutely, they self-esteem, they mental, because we supposed to be able to depend and rely on the cops. But I can absolutely see how we got to a space where we don't trust them. Okay. Um, Me personally, I feel like there needs to be a little more of a rigorous testing and training for people who want to be a cop. Why? One of the top most important things is an extreme mental evaluation, because most of these officers that's got badges and a title and they walk around with their chests all poked out, a lot of them are mentally disturbed. And maybe that's something we absolutely need to address maybe on a separate episode, but I feel like a lot of them They mentally disturbed. They don't even qualify to be an officer if your mental is not right. If you walking around with some type of racist energy or vibe about yourself, or you shouldn't be eligible to be a cop. For what? So you could play out those thoughts and feelings on whoever it is you come in contact with on the job, because that's what's gonna happen. Hence all the stuff that we keep seeing happen. It's not an illusion. No, this stuff is actually happening. You got cops that just don't respect civilians. You beneath them. They're not gonna treat you like you a human being. They're not gonna treat you with decency and compassion. It's gonna be straight aggression. Those type of people is dangerous. I also feel like they need to stop letting cops that don't live in those neighborhoods patrol. What do you need to be patrolling a neighborhood that you don't know nothing about? Why? No, put somebody over there in that neighborhood or that complex or that area or that vicinity that knows something about that area, the people, the neighborhood, the community. Because putting somebody in an environment that they know nothing about, I believe, creates a certain level of anxiety, anxiousness. Is why there seems like there is such a um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like they try to blur the lines when we start experiencing incidents like this, where perhaps a white officer has taken the life of a black civilian. Okay, it's almost like a lot of us that seem to happen so many times at this point that we numb, we docile to it. It don't have the same effect as it would if it was the first time we seen it or heard about it. Okay, um, still right now to this day, people are still being hung from trees. I clearly believe that that is a example of racial profiling, because some of the states that this type of stuff is still happening in still haven't progressed. They haven't transitioned. They haven't grown from back in the day to now. They still on that same type of time. They actually still got cities where after they ring a bell at a certain time and you not the right skin color, you better not be nowhere around. Okay? Racial profiling. It's been going on for a long time. I just think now we got so many different avenues to speak about this kind of stuff now is what brings it to the forefront. But it's been happening most of my life, if not all of it. Okay. Book by Big Mama Cuz. How you doing? Patricia, Kathleen, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Be the best. Brownie, how are you? Happy Tuesday. But yeah, it's absolutely an issue. And I think if we put certain things in place, or if we had certain things put in place, that we wouldn't have to experience so much of it. Because I believe that that's the root of why we experiencing so much of it. Because we got officers that's clearly not even an option, a candidate to be an officer, becoming an officer. And, I don't want to speculate or talk out of turn, but some people got positions in places that they shouldn't because of who they know, not because of what they can do. Does that make sense? They ain't really got no skill in the position or the field that they trying to get in. They knew somebody, and that's how they got in. Stuff like that. It can't happen. It can't happen because that's a direct, immediate flag for the citizens and civilians of whatever city or police department that they're gonna work for. That's gonna be a problem. And I'm not interested in the racial things, although I've experienced them. I know they exist. I'm not trying to dismiss or ignore them. That's a conversation for another episode, because I've absolutely already did an episode on racism, and that was just me acknowledging that I know it exists. Okay. um I'm not that type of person. How you get dealt with is going to be based off of how you decide to deal with me. It's just that simple. It's not going to be because you from a certain place or your skin color a certain color or you make a certain amount of money or none of that. No, it's going to be about your character and your integrity. Those are going to be the deciphers for whether or not you be around me. And so I feel like those same things should be put in place for an officer or anybody else in corporate America or the government. Okay, y'all, I got to get up out of here. My grandson is up. He done ended the episode early. If you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, go back and watch it. I'm going to upload it, all right? I'll see y'all back here on Friday at 8 p.m. for a new episode. Until then, I'm your girl, Tanise. I'm out of here. I love y'all.